Bienvenue everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Ariel and I am a flight attendant for an international charter airline. And we have a special guest today.
Hi, my name is Saida and I work for a regional airline.
And today we have 20 questions that you guys have been dying to know the answers to as to becoming a flight attendant. So we're going to answer them as best as we can. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn because we are about to start. Okay guys, so like we said, we have 20 questions that you guys have given us on our Instagram, our social medias. We will put them down below so you guys can see us in person. Okay. First question, is the pay decent?
Okay, so that's kind of a hard question because it depends on what you consider decent.
Right.
The pay, you can't make a living off of the pay, especially in your first year.
Yeah.
It depends on what airline you're with too,
Right.
though, and then what all your expenses are.
I would say do your research and figure out do your research before you put in your application to see if what best suits you, because different companies have different pays, just like they have different rules and regulations. So I would say do that first before you decide to figure out if you really want to become a flight attendant.
Yeah, and you can find the information, whatever company you're trying to apply for, you should be able to find a pay scale as far as like starting off, and then each year it should tell you how much you get for a raise. So definitely look into that because it is a struggle the first year.
Yes.
You do get lots of other perks, but the pay isn't always as great.
Right. Our second question comes in 3 ways that you guys have asked us. The first one is, are you ever home? The second one is, when you're at work, how long are you gone for? And the third one is, how long are you away from your base? So it's kind of all similar to me, but like I said, I am a international charter airline and she's a regional, so we can go by first. Let's go with her first, and then I can come in and put in my opinion on the situation.
So I'm with a regional carrier, so we do anywhere from 1 to up to 6 days. Usually it's a 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, or 5-day trip, which means that you would leave on let's say today is Saturday, so then you would leave. If you have a 3-day, you would leave today, and then you would be gone Sunday. You would come back on Monday. So that would be like a 3-day, an example of that. For being at a regional and being on reserve, I do get a lot of time off because like sometimes I don't get called while I'm on reserve, so I'm just sitting there. So if your base is where you live, then it's great because you're at home. You still have like only a certain amount of time to get to the airport, so you have to be careful. Like you can't do everything you want to do, but sometimes you can do some stuff where at least see your family and things like that. Like I can put in for 8 days off, 2 weeks off, or sometimes in our schedule they'll just give us like, we get 11 days off a month anyway, and then sometimes you can get more than that. I know during COVID we got like 14 or 15 days off, so we basically only work for 2 weeks and then the rest of the time we get off. So it just depends. You can be home, or you can kind of bid for your schedule. On reserve it's kind of a little harder, but sometimes you can.
Well, mine's is a little different. You see, I'm never home. If you want to put it that way. It also depends on what home you speak of. See, I am a commuter. I commute from Louisiana to Dallas. Dallas is my work spot, so Dallas, I will be here pretty much partially a month. With my company, we don't break down our work schedule in that way. We normally go out and we will do the work that they want us to do, and sometimes we may sit in different countries. So the pros and cons on it is like, it's cool because you're in another country, but the con is like, you kind of want, you miss America just a little bit. You just want. Our fourth question is, where can I apply?
So when I applied on, I think I just went on Indeed or any search engine, and I just typed in like, how can I become a flight attendant? What companies are hiring? And I filled out for a few different companies on there. If you want one main company, then just go to their website, and then a lot of times you can find out the information on how to apply on their website. And if you don't really care specifically which company you're with, or if you are open to a variety of different companies, then just type in the search engine, how can I become a flight attendant, and a lot of stuff will come up, and then read their description and see which one fits best for you, and then go from there.
Yeah, like she said, I also did LinkedIn and Indeed for a lot of my applications. Like, this isn't my company that I'm with now wasn't my first choice. But it became my first choice.
Yeah, same for me.
So, like I said, go through Indeed, do your application, do your resume first. Make sure that your background is straight before you even decide to put in an application. Because rules and regulations from America may be different from different countries. Mm-hmm. So I would make sure that you put in your application or your resume differently, and make sure that you check your background. What are your required items for your interview? Okay, so that's a weird question, but yeah. I mean, what do you mean? Like, if you're talking about like a face-to-face interview, because for me, I went to 2 interviews before I actually got accepted with my company, and that was a video interview and a face-to-face interview. And for a face-to-face interview for me, my required items was specifically dressing well. My makeup was not too out there. It was pretty much professional.
Be modest, professional,
conservative people. But also, I made sure that I had 5 printed out resumes, completely in a nice little book for whoever was going to do my interview. The same resume that I did online was the same resume that I sent with them. I made sure that I had my passport together, a very valid passport. You have to make sure that you have a valid passport. If you do not have a valid passport with your face-to-face interview, make sure that you have proper documents stating that your passport is coming, but it'll be on the way soon. That's all I got. What you got?
Yeah, for the interview, there's not really anything specifically required. I would just say, have your resumes, have a few copies of your resume, and then also make sure you dress appropriately. Look up what that particular company is looking for, and just make sure you dress professional. Right. And make sure your hair and makeup is professional. Right. And bring your smile.
Yes, bring your smile. That's the first thing.
That's a requirement. Just bring your smile, and then just show your personality. There's not really like anything specifically required for the interview, but after you get hired, you're gonna have required items. But that's you have to take with you everywhere you go.
And that's a whole nother YouTube video. Yes. Our 6th question would be, how does online interview process works?
So it's different depending on which company you're interviewing for. But basically, they give you the information, and you want to make sure you dress professional. Make sure that you're ready a few minutes before time. You sit in front of the camera, and make sure that you're on there whenever the interviewer comes on.
7th question that you guys have sent us would be, what should you wear at your interview? I mean, it's pretty much the same as what we said before. Dress professional. Yeah. Be conservative. No skin showing.
Yeah, don't wear really bright colors with don't wear patterns and things like that. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say, like, for instance, we didn't have anybody who wore patterns and everything, but we did have people. I know a lot of people are like, oh, can I wear red, or can I wear like yellow, or like that? You can wear colors, but make sure that it's professional and like conservative.
Yeah. Not a lot of people accept tattoos. So be mindful on that, where your tattoos are. Yeah. Personally, I would cover it. But hey.
Yeah, but find out about that. Like, does your company accept tattoos? Do people have them, and are you allowed to cover them? I know for my company, there was a time up until recently where we couldn't have tattoos at all.
Yeah.
So, just make sure that your company accepts tattoos.
Yes.
And even if you're going to an interview, make sure that's covered. Like, you don't
Yes.
want to go to an interview and have your tattoo shown,
Right.
because even if they accept it, they're not going to want you to show it in your uniform.
Right. I would say for men, keep your facial hair well shaved.
Yeah.
Our 8th question would be, how does your schedule work?
So it's different.
Very different.
Yeah. Every company is different. Even like other regionals and other mainline carriers are different.
Yes.
So at our company, our schedule is assigned the month prior to whatever month is coming up. So like we'll get it's February, so we'll get our March schedule later on this month. And they give you the full month of what your off days and the days that you'll be working. But because I'm on reserve, it shows basically that I'm on reserve these days and then I'm off on these days. So it just depends. Like if you have a line, then you're able to bid for your schedule and you know exactly what days you're working and where you're going and everything like that. For us on reserve, it's just like you're on reserve for these days at these times.
Mine is completely different. We are required 75 hours within the month. So we do bidding, and our bidding starts on the 5th and it closes on the 10th of every month for the next month. We get off like pretty much like anyone else. We get off every 2 weeks, chilling and do our due. But like my company, like I said before, my company goes out of the country and we travel and sometimes we stay there. So we can bid on what, if they have any available countries that they want us to do on certain days of the month, we can bid on those days and see if we can get accepted. But it also goes by seniority. So if, let's say, you want to be off on the 6th of March, but someone that was in the company that are higher than you wants that day off, they will choose that day. They would choose that flight attendant before they choose you.
Yeah, and it works the same at our company too. We do have bid days, and we also like you can kind of bid for what days you want. Sometimes they give it to you, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, it's
so
a
it
gamble. It's like you're gambling. You're gambling on your days off.
But usually, even if you're on reserve, like not a full month in advance, but what your schedule is for that month. Like they give you the entire month of what your schedule is going to be, so you can kind of plan something on your off days.
Our 9th question: do you travel out of the country often? Well, I mean, you know what I am. I'm an international flight attendant.
Right,
I mean,
so
what
she's
you want to
always
do?
out of
I'm
the
always
country.
traveling. What you mean? What about you, ma'am?
So since I'm with regional, we don't do. So we basically do the larger airlines, smaller flights. So we usually do domestic flights, but we do have like Canada, Alaska, and the Caribbean and Mexico. So sometimes we do get assigned to those particular destinations, whatever. But yeah, sometimes I go to Canada. I guess I don't go international very much.
I mean, Canada's international, so
yeah, but like I don't get it often.
I've been pretty much almost everywhere out of the United States. I've only been to like maybe 6 or 7 states in the United States. So
Yeah, and like
within
I've
the
been
year,
to all
so
the states because we literally travel around the states. So I've been to I've got to explore the U.S. pretty well.
10th question: how can you balance a relationship? Ooh, y'all nosy.
Yeah. So a lot of people, it just depends. Everything in this job really depends on the person, the job, like where you're working, everything. So for me, I don't have a relationship, but I am dating. And dating is hard because sometimes, like for instance, I'm on call today. And that means basically they can just call me anytime during my reserve period.
Right.
into work. And I don't know if I get caught, I can be gone for, you know, the next 3 days or the next 4 days or whatever my schedule says. So it's like really hard to plan a date unless I plan it for my off days. But people are like, well, why aren't you available now? Like you're not working. So it just depends. But I mean, it's possible. I know a lot of people who are married, have kids, or, you know, a lot of people who have boyfriend, girlfriend, and, you know, you can always fly and go see them. So
I, on the other hand, am in a relationship, as I must say. But yeah, like she said, I mean, it's about communication, really.
Mm-hmm.
They know your job, they know what you have to do, and if they understand it, then it can be a very clean, smooth situation. If they can't understand that situation, they can to the left.
Yeah, and you have to have someone who is, you know, able to handle this type of job, because a lot of people, you know, if you're that type of person that you have to be at home every night with your person, you're not going to be home every night until you get some seniority and you're able to like bid your schedule, and that might take years. So you just have to be prepared. But it can be fun. Dating can be fun because you can
there's a lot of fish in the sea.
Date in different states and different areas.
Next one would be how to pack when traveling. Okay, I can tell you this right now. I'm a bad packer. I have like 3 bags to pack.
Yeah.
I have to have a shoe bag. I have to have my lunch bag. I have to have certain clothes bags. I got to make sure that I have like 7, 8, maybe 9 pairs of outfits that all match one pair of shoe. Like I'm a horrible packer, so I don't know if you want that from me.
Well, so when I first started, it was so hard to figure out how, because we have like a 22-inch or 21-inch bag and a roller bag, and it's like when you're not used to having that limited amount of space, it's really hard to figure out what to put in your bag. So for me, I usually just pack, depending on how long my trip is. If I do maybe like a 4-day, I'll pack maybe like 2 or 3 outfits. A good thing to do is like when they give you your schedule, you know for sure, like if I'm going to be at the hotel earlier in the daytime, if I'm going to get there at 2 p.m. and I'm going to be at the hotel all day, then there's a possibility I might go somewhere, you know.
Always make sure that you have a swimsuit in there.
Oh yeah.
And a pair of shorts, because one minute you may be in a cold area, and then the next minute you may be somewhere hot.
Yeah.
So I would recommend a swimsuit at all times.
Yeah, and definitely carry it, because like when I first started, I had it in my bag, and then I was like, oh, I haven't went swimming, so I took it out, and then every destination I went to was like hot, and it had a swimming pool, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
So hurt. I did that too. I was in Alaska, and then my next trip, they just put it on me on the spur of the moment. They were like, oh yeah, you're going to Hawaii, and I was like, Hawaii? I don't have a bathing suit. Yeah. So always make sure that you have a bathing suit with you.
And you can buy one, but you know, you don't want to buy a bathing suit every time you go somewhere. It can get really expensive. Very expensive, so, depending on where you're going. Yeah, so you know, it's best if you can take that stuff, just take it with you. And like she said, I have 3 bags too, because if I have a 4-day, I take my lunchbox and I take, or my cooler, and then I have my roller bag, and I have another like travel tote that I put my essential items and everything in. So, you know, your luggage can get heavy. So you need to learn, you just have to learn how to pack on your own.
Okay. So our next question would be number 12. How do you save money for food? So, okay, y'all, food is my love language. I'm always broke.
Seriously, she's telling the truth.
I'm always broke.
Food is her love language.
Food is my love language. I love every kind of food that you can think of. I will try anything once. I promise you, I don't care. And it's hard, man. It's very, very hard to like try to, especially if you're going out of country to these places and you never tried it before and you really want to try it. Yeah. So, I mean, personally, from an international flight attendant, I don't know, baby.
Well, how do you think that I found out to do is pack your lunch, because it can get very expensive. Airport food, you can go and get breakfast and it's $15, and then go later on and get lunch and it's $25, you know. So definitely I I pack my cooler and I pack for like however many days I'm going. And then occasionally if I go somewhere that I haven't been, or there's like some restaurant I want to try, then I'll buy something there. But it's definitely healthier and easier to save money if you pack your own food. Pack your breakfast, pack your lunch, pack your dinner.
So, question number 13. Can you commute? Okay.
No.
I can answer that question.
No. With my company, you cannot commute. And with lots of companies, they do not want you to commute. I know for our company, like I mentioned earlier, you're not supposed to commute. Like I said, people do it, but they take a really big risk, because if you miss your work assignment, they sometimes will let you go on the spot because you're losing them a lot of money from not coming into your work assignment. And they prefer that new recruits don't commute, because it just makes it a lot easier, especially when you're not used to the schedule and like how everything works and stuff. I wouldn't recommend commuting. At least if you can avoid it, try to get like a crash pad, or try to get something where you don't have to commute for like your first few months until you get used to your schedule and you learn what you're doing.
Right. My company is okay with commuting, just as long as you make it back to your base on the required time that you're supposed to be there to your base. Like I said, our schedules go within a month, so we already know when our ARF days are. We already know when we're supposed to come back. Yeah. So if you don't come back on the times that they tell you to come back, then yes, that would be a big no-no. That means you weren't responsible to make sure that you come back on your regular required base. Are COVID tests required?
For what?
I guess. I don't know what you're trying to say in this one, but if you're trying to say like, are COVID tests required every time you're going on a trip? I guess that also depends as well.
Oh, does it? Because with our company, when we go on a trip, we are not required to take a COVID test when we leave or come back and forth from a destination.
Because we are traveling overseas, yes, it depends on the country. It depends on the country and what they want from that country. I just recently came back from a trip, and in that trip, we had to always make sure that we took a COVID test before going to that country. So I would say, like she said, she says it depends. It just depends. Me personally. What's the difference between a regional airline and a charter airline?
So, regional airline basically is a smaller airline carrier who does flights for the major airline, or we call it mainline or legacy carriers. So any legacy carriers that you know of, there's also a smaller airline who does flights for that carrier. And at my regional airline, we are the biggest regional airline. So we fly for 4 mainline carriers, and we do their smaller flights.
And I would say a charter airline or a charter company is a company where the person or a passenger pays for the whole plane, meaning they don't buy a seat, they pay for the whole doggone plane. So it could be like some as like NFL football players trying to go from one state to another state. So you would kind of say it's like a private charter, like a private airline, basically.
Yeah, like they charter the plane.
They charter
money.
We cater to you. So, question number 17 would be, where's the first place you've went with your company?
Oh, man.
Oh, mine was easy. Japan.
Oh,
I was in
awesome.
Japan. After my IOE experience, during the IOE experience, I went to Japan. I was there. I was an hour away from Tokyo. We had a blast, but unfortunately, I could not go to Tokyo due to the fact of the pandemic just starting. So therefore, they shut everything down for us, where I couldn't go get any sushi.
My experience was not so extravagant. I think the first place I went, and I think off from after IOE, because you do an actual trip on your IOE. So like I had a 4-day on my IOE, and I think I went to like Houston and I don't even remember. It was like different destinations every night. But my actual first trip off of IOE, I went to Nashville. And it was actually fun. It was the summertime, and we went downtown, and we got to go to see the. We were at a nice hotel downtown, and they had food trucks out and lots of different things going on. Oh, the CMA festival was going on at that time, like right outside our hotel.
Yeah, my trip was pretty cool. I saw amazing people. I was outside early in the morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. And they looking at me like baka. Baka means stupid.
Oh, no. I was out there to say, like,
yeah, like I had coffee there. Like we had a good time. For the little, for literally, because of COVID stopping us from going out actually into the city. Like, we really did have a good time. I was very happy on it. I mean, I wish we could have done a lot more, but who's to say this year, maybe next year, hopefully this year, 2021, you may see some content in Japan. I want to ride the bullet train so bad. So that's my goal. My goal is to ride the bullet train. I really want to ride the bullet train. So our next question would be, how managing family and work life. Okay, so that's pretty much the same as a relationship, that relationship question that you guys asked us, but I can answer this one. You see, I'm a commuting international flight attendant, who happens to have a son and is in a very long-term 4-year relationship right now. I would say, honestly, it is hard. It is very hard. You have to have people to help you. I am working in Dallas, and I have no family or friends out here to help me if I needed help with my son in Dallas. So my son is literally staying in Louisiana. That's where I stay. So my family helps me there. My significant other helps me there in that situation. I would say you have to have a strong, stable, family-oriented situation. It's hard, man. Like, you have to understand, like, because I'm gone for so long, there would have not been any possible way for me to have this job if it wasn't for my family. Shout out to my auntie. You the real girl. It's only like, shout out to you, girl. But with my relationship, it's about communication. He knows exactly where I am. He can get nervous. He can get scared on me going in different areas of the country and stuff. But we have proper protocols for that. I have certain apps where if I don't feel safe, it's easy for me to record a situation. If I don't feel comfortable, I can always call him and he'll be there. He'll be on the phone making sure he can lock my situation or lock me down in his phone to make sure that I'm fine. I'm supposed to be exactly in this direction. I call my family to let them know, hey, I'm here. I'll be leaving to go here at this time. If you don't get a phone call from me in the next so many amount of hours, then something's wrong. That's pretty much how I do it. You can do it too. If you have children, please do not feel like you can't do this. You can. There are a lot of women out there, a lot of flight attendants who have family out there, who literally have children and is still doing this. Like, you do not have to stop your dreams because you have kids. Keep going.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who are married, and there's a lot of people who have children. I don't have any children, and I'm not married, but it's still possible. And if for some reason you do want to be closer to your family, try to look for somewhere that has a base located where you live, so that you can transfer back to your base and you can be at home with your family on your off days, or you can fly back and commute to see them,
right?
And then or maybe like, I'm still living the dream. I'm still a flight attendant, and I can always fly international anytime I want, whenever I'm off. So, you know, maybe go for a carrier that doesn't do those longer international flights and get something more like a regional where you fly around the U.S. and then your family can also fly out to see you, to like fly home and see my family, because it was only for the one day and I was on call the next day at like 3 a.m. So, you know, video chatting and different things like that. And then just make sure that you're prepared if you have to miss the holiday. Like, I got to go the week before Christmas, but I wasn't actually there for Christmas, you know? So it can be kind of sad and hard sometimes, but then at the same time, you can also have great experiences because now, like, you have flight benefits. So now when you do get off Christmas or whatever, you and your family can fly somewhere to Japan or something and have a great Christmas or, you know, whatever.
So what I do is I normally, for holidays, I'll normally do it. Well, my family and I would normally celebrate holidays either early or late, depending on where my schedule is. So for Thanksgiving, we had our Thanksgiving early for us. For Christmas, I made sure that to have Christmas a little early. See, my son's birthday is December 4th. So sometime in the middle, after his birthday, in the middle of that, and Christmas, I made sure to have at least one gift a day until it was Christmas. Because you got to understand, these kids, like my son is 5, so he doesn't really understand the concept of Christmas. But he gets it that, you know, you get presents. So I would love him to have Christmas, you know, like every average other individual. Sometimes what I do all the time is I'll FaceTime, I'll call, they'll put me on the screen, and it's like I never left. With my son, he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, and find a balance.
Yeah, you definitely can find a balance. Okay, so our video has been long enough. So our last question that you guys asked would be, what is the best advice we can give you?
I would say do your research.
Throughout this whole process?
If you don't take anything else from this video or anybody else, do your research. And it's so many different ways that you can do your research. I know before I started, I looked on YouTube, I looked online, and I just Googled stuff. And then I found lots and lots of YouTube videos of different people who were explaining what this is and what that is. We're going to come out with more videos. So make sure you follow us and subscribe. We'll come out with
them,
share it. And then let us know your questions and stuff so we can be able to answer them. And then look up other people who are, you know, putting that information out there, because you can find out pretty much anything you want to know, from tattoos to, you know, what you need to wear for your interview to how the lifestyle works.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
There was influencers, flight attendant influencers who I looked up to.
Yeah.
And that's the process that I went through. I mean, my advice that I can give to you guys, that would be the best advice that, of my opinion, would be is to never give up.
Yeah.
You're going to have they're going to have multiple companies that may or may not like you.
Yeah.
And you cannot give up. I was discouraged the first 2 times that I've done my interviews with other 2 companies until I made it to this company. I had to learn this concept of the interview. What are they looking for? How are they looking for it? Like she said, I went through YouTube and I went look at other people to see how it worked and what they did. And I pretty much remixed it, made it something of my own, and I understood it that way. And I would say, like, man, just don't give up, man. Just keep fighting.
Yeah, live your dream. I mean, it's a dream. It's like the most amazing job that I have had, because you can literally be in this nice, wonderful area, and you can, it's so many different things that you can do as a flight attendant. It's not always as glamorous as it may seem, but the good outweighs the bad.
This concludes your guys' nosy questions. This concluded. We appreciate it. Keep giving us the questions, sending us all the love and all the inspiration. We love you guys. And from my crew to yours, laissez les bons ton rouler.